Hey, everybody, welcome to the second ever edition of First Thursdays, a Sandlot podcast. My name's Jimmy C, sitting here alongside Mike G. And well, Mike, as we start this thing off, we got to do something. We got to do our classic soundbite that you coined in the last episode. Because you can't do this without having a couple of beers with your friends, right, Mike?
That is absolutely correct. That first time you heard the soundbite was just me doing shk. Now we got the real deal Holyfield. So let's get it rolling.
So we call this first segment "First Pitch." That's the new phrase we're going to be rolling with here as we move on into this. And basically, we kind of came into this thing just kind of making it up as we went along. And as we mentioned in the last episode, we had help from our friend Jonathan Jeter. We were in his studio, and he basically set everything up and did the tech stuff for us. And we had some lovely background music going on there. There were some cover songs that were being played in the background. This time around, you're not going to hear any bands practicing in the background, although there might be a rogue appearance from one of our cats because we're doing this in the bar at mine and Carly's house. But going into this, we weren't really sure what to expect. And I wasn't sure how many people were going to listen to this. I don't know what your expectations were going into this, but the response that we had from the people in our league and from our friends and family, I was pretty impressed.
Yeah, honestly, my expectation, I just wanted 17 people to listen. And that was just my booze hounds and my friends. And that was just it. And I was just thinking, if just like my team and my just turnaround friends listen, then great. Maybe they can say, hey, I just heard my friends on the podcast and I think it's pretty cool. You should listen. But no, it was all support. We went to watch a game and some of the 86ers came up and the first thing they'll say, Mike, oh my gosh, I heard the podcast. That was great. And I was kind of like, super happy because that was just the whole intention, just to bring community and have everybody and have all these stories heard.
You know, we even got an extra sponsor out of this. We'll dive into that a little bit later on. But one of our friends that actually plays on a different team in our league, and he actually sponsors the league. He actually hit us up after listening to this and was like, "Hey, what's the sponsorship looking like?" And I was like, "Are you serious right now? Like, if we just took the team sponsors and we just threw them on here for some added benefit, no one actually gave us any money to do this." And he was like, "Oh, well, I'm interested." So we'll dive more into that a little bit later on. But for anybody else out there that just might be listening to this for the first time, you didn't catch the first episode. We are part of a league in Dallas, Texas that is called Oak Cliff Sandlot. We were the third team in the league, and our team name is, Mike?
East Dallas Booze Hounds.
And for lack of a better term, we are a group of friends that frequents a watering hole here in the East Dallas area known as Good Friend. And that's kind of where we got started. The Oak Cliff 86ers, a gentleman named Patty, you'll have to go back to episode 1 to hear his story, but he started this league off and started off the 86ers by posting flyers around his neighborhood and just get people together to play baseball. A little bit later on, there was the River City Honeybusters, and we became the third team in the league. But we're in year 3, and for a short backstory, we were sitting in a bar called the Whistling Pig, and you came up with the idea, hey, let's do a Sandlot podcast, Jimmy.
Yes, and we just wanted just to figure out, just because we always caught ourselves going to good friends and, yo, man, today at work, someone asked about my hat and I just explained Sandlot to them and it was just amazing. I was like, dude, I did the same thing too. Someone asked, what did I do this weekend? I told them I just played a little baseball Sandlot with my friends and be like, what's that? So just everything we always talked about Oak Cliff, and now we just want to make sure more people can reach about it, but also maybe our friends here in Oak Cliff Sandlot. Maybe you're just like, hey, you get asked all the time, well, how about you check out First Thursdays and you kind of get to know us real quick.
So there's a brief recap as to who we are and what this is all about. First order of business, though, we have to correct a mistake that we made telling the story of us as a team in the last episode. We talked about our first game in 2023 playing the Fort Worth Panthers, and I tagged them in the post on Instagram, and then they sent me a message right afterwards like, oh, man, great job on the podcast. We got to set up a game and play you guys. Like, we played you guys in 2023. We were your first game. And they're like, nope, that wasn't us. So to correct that situation, it was actually the Fort Worth Ferals. That was the first game. I wasn't actually at that one. I missed that one in 2023. But apologies, it was the Fort Worth Ferals was the first team that the East Dallas Booze Hounds ever squared off against. I believe you were actually at that game, were you not?
I was there. I caught the first time ever playing baseball. I mean, it was pretty funny because I came in inning 3, never played catcher in my life, never done anything. The only thing I know about catcher was Mike Piazza and Ivan Pudge. So when it was my time to get there, obviously it's Sandlot, some of my friends, no pressure. I was like, great, I get to catch. It's going to be cool. It's super easy. And then Meadows, which is our teammate, he's my good friend. This is going to be okay. And then when I start warming him up, I was like, this is really happening. And then I freaked out because I was like, where's the strike zone? Where's the ball zone? Where's the what zone? So I immediately went to Meadows, and he goes up to me. He was like, "What's up, G? Everything okay?" I was like, "Yeah." So, where's the strike zone? And he's like, "What?" Yeah, where's the strike zone? Because we got to call our own balls and strikes in this league. And he goes, "Oh, okay. Chest level to knees. Perfect. Let's play ball." And from there on in, that's where I got the moniker, "What you drinking, what you thinking," just because I just wanted to let the people know I'm like on my fourth beer because I don't know what I'm doing. So if this is a strike, and if it's not, let me know, Bubba. But yeah, that's how I remember that game, just because I got really nervous, but I figured out, hey, it's not about the nervous here. It's about all the thrills you get what you do with be with your friends,
In that very first game, you busted out the "what you thinking, what you drinking."
basically.
I did not know that. I didn't think that evolved until a couple of games later. I did not know that you pulled that out of your magic hat in game one.
Yeah, that was where people were coming up, and I was like, "What you drinking?" And he was like, "Oh, a Dos Equis." So what you thinking? Man, a hit. I was like, "Well, I'm there with you, buddy, because I got 5 beers in me right now."
Well, our apologies to the Fort Worth Ferals. That was our first game in 2023 to kick off the East Dallas Booze Hounds. And for the Fort Worth Panthers, yes, we do need to get on the schedule and hopefully come see you guys in the future. Now, let's talk about some old news, as we like to talk about, or just recap what has gone on since the last time. We recorded this in July, but since it's called First Thursdays, we posted on the first Thursday of the month. So this didn't actually pop up until the first Thursday of August. But a lot of things have happened here. Now, we talked about this in episode number 1. As I just mentioned earlier, 86ers were the first team. Then it was the River City Honeybusters. Then it was us, the East Dallas Booze Hounds. It was the White Rock Mudbugs was team number 4 in our league. And then we had the Redbird Aviators. We're up to 6 now. We got the Coyotes in there as well. But since the last episode, there's now 2 brand new teams in the league. So let's talk about that, Mike.
Yes, sir. So, Patty decided, which I think it was an amazing idea. We've been getting a lot of support on our first Saturdays at Lake Cliff. And I mean, a lot of support. It's not just like 20 people showing up, it's like up to 40 to 50. But the great support, there is a lot of regular faces. So, Patty, gave him some instructions and how to start the team. But, sometimes you just get a bunch of people and lives are busy. Patty took initiative and said, you know what, I'm going to start the team, do all the administrative stuff to kind of get people organized and just get it going. So he called that team the Lake Cliff Strays. So what do you think about that name?
I like it. They've been toying with some ideas on some logos. We have a Discord chat with all the teams in the league. It's interesting. The first run of logo I saw was a cat that had it looked like a baseball bat that was in its tail. I could be wrong on the details on that, but it was pretty funny. There is a park at that lake, hence the name Lake Cliff Park. But recently, due to some news coverage, that it's been a hotbed for stolen cars. So a while back during one of those open play games, DPD was out there actually pulling. I think the last number was up to 21, 22 cars that they yanked out of that lake. So a lot of the discussions were like, what if you had a cat on top of a tow truck dragging a car out of that lake holding the baseball bat? And then other people were like, that might be a little too busy on a logo. Funny. However, I do love the name.
Yeah, and then going to the next game or next team, I actually like it as well because it kind of gives you some nostalgia, some SNL. You remember that skit, The Bears?
Duh, Bears.
The Bears. So this next team, they're the Blackland Prairie Bears. And they're literally based out of 4 counties here in Texas. So there's some good old teams just in Fannin County, Collin County, Grayson County, and Hunt County. So basically they're just square counties together. And just like you said, it's a community. So this feller just makes sure, hey, I got some people in different counties. Let's get them together and start a team. So there you go. We got a new team called the Blackland Prairie Bears.
Well, that one was rather interesting because I don't know the guy that started that team. I don't know his name off the top of my head, but I don't know if he actually attended an open play game or just heard about it through word of mouth. But he reached out to me on the Instagram page for the Booze Hounds Broadcast Network, which for those of you that are new to this and you didn't listen to episode 1, our team, we have 2 pages. We have the team page, and then we also have an Instagram page for what we do in the games because we bring a PA system. We have walk-up music, announcing, and all that fun stuff. But he sent me a DM, and he was like, hey, I want to be a booze hound. I was like, well, we're kind of full. Can you pitch? I was like, we're always ready to talk to people that can maybe pitch, but I was like, yeah, we're good. Like, we're beyond good for the season, maybe next year. And he just was so adamant about it. And he kept talking. And then he was asking all these questions. And I was kind of giving him the ins and outs of what the league is all about. And I guess he played at one point in his life, and I wasn't sure how old he was. And then he said he had a daughter that played in high school, might have been college, but he kept asking a ton of questions. I was like, just come out to an open play game and just get the feel of it. And then he was going to come out to one of our games. I believe when we played the Black Sox, he was going to come and watch, and he never showed up. And then all of a sudden, I see that there's this new team, and then I was talking to Aldi on our team, and he's like, "Oh yeah, that's the guy that you were talking to that wanted to be a booze hound." I'm like, well, good for you. You went from I'm going to come watch a game to all of a sudden you now have your own team.
And that's Sandlot right there. We kind of just tell everybody, like, yeah, it's really that easy. It's just that initiative. And hey, pitch it to your friends, and that your friend's going to pitch it to somebody else. It's going to be a collaborative group of friends, and you're just going to have an opportunity to play Sandlot. And once you start that first team, and you meet another team and another team, and you start realizing everybody started the same.
Did you realize you just made a baseball pun? Was that intended when you said pitch it to your friends?
I kind of did.
I love that. I was like, I'm looking at you when you're saying that. I'm like, is he messing with me right now? Let's mark that as intended. I love it. So we talked about a couple of new teams that have joined the ranks. We also have the Texas Speed Bumps. We'll get into them a little bit later on. They're like brand new. They're not actually in the league yet, but they literally just formed out of nowhere since the night after we recorded the last podcast. But let's recap the last couple of games that the Booze Hounds have gone through here since we last recorded an episode.
Yeah, so right after the episode that we recorded, we played our fun bunch of friends. We played the Sheeple on the 26th of July. So it's always fun meeting up at Churchill Park and playing Cooper and his friends. If you have not heard about the Sheeple, they also have a documentary out there called Punk Rock Baseball. And if you look out, you get 2 seconds of Diamond Mike, a.k.a. me, a.k.a. number 97, holding his helmet. So yeah, they do really good in Sandlot. They do a lot of travel. They always have a nice schedule and bringing friends in or meeting some other people out. So it was fun playing them at Churchill on the 26th. Then we went on to Samuel Grand. So we've been playing a couple of night games at Samuel Grand, especially on Friday nights, which is super cool because I got that regular 9 to 5 gig. So once I clock out at 5 on Friday, I'm actually happy. Go home, put my baseball uniform, and just drive to Samuel Grand. And we had our game versus the Mudbugs, who, have you heard on record, was the team started right after us. And the Mudbugs, just like all teams in Sandlot, wanted to join the team, and they said the team's kind of full, but join your own team and you can do it. So it's always cool that we get to play them just because the rivalry in there is nothing but just friendships, because basically we were about to be one whole big team. So why do one whole big team and not everybody gets to play, and you can just split off the two, and that's basically just almost literally the history of us two.
Yeah, then we capped off the month basically with a team we'd not played before, the Dallas All Hats, which, to my understanding, a lot of them were on the Sheeple, and then they just kind of divided into a second team and then added some new people. So that was the first time that we had squared off against them. So you were talking about Samuel Grand. I didn't get to play in that game against the Sheeple, but that was a park over on their side of town. So we were back to Norbuck Park, which from episode 1, if you listen to our history, that's kind of our home turf. We play on field 5 and 6. And for these summertime night games, we have a special place in our heart for that field. But the lights have been off at field 6. And thanks to our fine friends over at the city of Dallas, they got those things fixed ahead of time. They told us projected repair time was 2026. The lights are back on at Norbuck 6. So we are back to playing night games over there. And that is how we capped off the month of August.
That is correct. Yeah, we went back home. Every dog doesn't stray too far away from home, so we made it back to Norbuck.
So that's first pitch in a nutshell. Just recapping some business from the last month. We're going to pay a few bills here. When we come back, we're going to talk about the startup cost of what it actually takes to get into Sandlot baseball. First Thursday's podcast is brought to you by Suffer City Tattoos, located in East Dallas on Garland Road and open 7 days a week for all your tattoo needs. You can find them on Instagram at Suffer City Tattoos. By Good Friend Burger House and Beer Garden, the hottest little neighborhood oasis located at Peavy and Garland Road, offering classic burgers, craft cocktails, an extensive beer list, and more. Check them out at www.goodfrienddallas.com. And by Yeast Dallas Baking Company, a home-based bakery in East Dallas started in 2021. Breads, pies, cookies, dog treats, and more. Check them out on Instagram at Yeast Dallas Baking Company. All right, in this segment, this was an idea that we kind of came up with here to talk about cost or sticker shock, because I know that we talked broad brushstrokes in the last episode about gear and how we all came to be, and how for us, at least as a team, this kind of happened lightning fast. We were all sitting on a patio. Aldi came up and was like, "You want to be on a baseball team?" And it kind of went down the line, and we're all outside having a beer and having a shot, like, "Yay, we're a baseball team!" And the next thing I know, it's like, "Hey, we need money for your league dues, and we need this and we need that." But I guess I want to dive into this because I don't want people to think that are listening to this that haven't played yet, or that want to play, or thinking like, man, I got to fork out a lot of cash for this, because that's actually not the case. Nothing could be further from the truth. You can actually get out of this pretty cost effectively.
Yes. I mean, hold up.
I was wondering when you were going to pop that thing. I saw you had a fresh beer. I was like, when's he going to do it? Now the segment is right. We can continue.
We're okay. We're okay. Be cool. So yeah, let's get started. Baseball. Can it be an expensive sport? Yeah, when you start customizing stuff, at the end of the day, you just need a glove. I mean, we're gonna go and talk about how almost all the teams are sponsored by Mind Bats as well with Oak Cliff Sandlot. But I tell people, shop around online. I mean, you can just go to websites. Everybody got those favorite website to get deals, and that's where a lot of our friends would start doing. They would be like, "Hey, I went to this site. Hey, I went to this site." Honestly, just this week, I went online again to this site that I usually always go. So if you want to kind of just, holler at me next time, I will let you know what site I go. It's not a big secret, but I just bought a bat for 50% off. A lot of people can go to like the major chains and, they see the bat and they're like, "Whoa, this is like a very expensive bat." I literally bought this bat 50% off. It was a bat that was supposed to be $150. I got it for 75. So I'm just like, that's the only reason I bought this bat, because I was like, how much money can I save? Because maybe in another segment and in another podcast, we're going to go in Mike breaks a bat again segment, and I'm going to let you know how much I owe, but let's not talk about that because I still got to pay that off. But I also was able to get my cleats. So the other day I told one of my friends, like, "Hey, look at these cleats." They're like, "Whoa, they're nice." I'm like, "Yeah, they go for $130. And guess what I paid? Just $65 ship. So just in that, I literally bought a bat for $75, 60. That's 130. And if I would have bought them full price, that's $280. That's a ticket to go watch your favorite team disappoint you. Cowboys. But anyways, yeah, it can be super affordable. Honestly, I always say the majority of the team, they have a uniform. We did gray pants, so it can just super easy. But most teams are going to be super cool about. A lot of the teammates, too, all have their gloves when they were a teenager. The other day, I was talking to one of my teammates. We were talking gloves. I was like, "Hey, what type of glove do you have?" He's like, "Honestly, I don't know. I just know I've been having it since I was a teenager." I was like, "Me too." And if you remember in the last segment, I still got my bat and glove from Oshman's that I got back in 2002 when I was going to try out for my JV team, and nothing happened. So, I mean, honestly, you could just go online. And also, you know what, Jimmy, I think I'm feeling really, really kind right now. If you wear large in Nike Vapor and you are at 34 or 36, I got a deal for you.
Are you making gear deals right now?
I'm making
We're not.
gear deals
We're
right
one
now.
episode in and working on a second one, and you're already wheeling and dealing.
I'm letting you know, if you have $10 on you and you find me, I got a deal for you. Like I said, Nike Vapor large. I got you a pair of white pinstripe University of Texas Austin baseball locker room issued pants. And I say they look nice. And I'll give you that deal, but you have to come up to me like, "Mike, you got them pants? You show me those $10 and I'll make sure you have those pants on you." But like I said, there's deals everywhere, because you got friends who be like, "Hey, you want a glove? I got an extra one. Here, you can use it." So all you got to do is just ask around. Oak Cliff Sandlot pretty much is just easy about it. So, hey, just talk around. If you need help, we'll help you out.
You keep making deals like this, you're going to get a new nickname. We're going to have to start calling you Mike G QVC. Wheeling a deal. So where do they have to DM you at? You got to tell them where to find you. You just want them to go to Boo Sounds Broadcast Network.
All this day, just see me somewhere at a game in real life, because this has to be real cold hard cash. This can't be no DM everything. I wouldn't know where to find you. I'm not trying
Bitcoin?
to ship this.
You don't take Bitcoin?
No Bitcoin. So like I said, if you wear a 34, 36 and you work large in Nike, I got you. I got nice, good pants for you.
So basically what you're saying is there's ways, if you put the research in and you put the time, you can wheel and deal and you can find some good discount buys.
Basically, you can be on the baseball field for under $50.
So, from my experience, I tried to go dig up a glove that I had when I was a kid, and I eventually found it, but it was in terrible shape. So there was no way that thing was going to work. But I ended up buying a new glove. I bought mine on Amazon, and I still spent like sub $75 on a brand new glove, and it was a Rawlings. It wasn't like some no. It was a brand name glove, and that thing works out just fine. As far as cleats on my end, myself and Tyler Ware and a couple other guys, we all got ours at I believe it was Dick's Sporting Goods. And still, I mean, $50 for a brand new pair of cleats, I thought was pretty cheap. I tried to fight that at first. I figured I'd just run out there and run around in my Vans, and that was a horrible idea. So I broke down and bought cleats. But I mean, for $50, that's not bad. But let's talk about bats for a second, because you don't need a bat. Like you said, there's people that are going to be there on your team that are going to have bats. I didn't have a bat at first. We had a couple of people on the team that had bats, and we all just kind of shared. And I remember in that first season, there were like 3 or 4 people that had batting gloves, and we all just kind of shared. And I think we maybe had 3 helmets. So the bat, not that big of a deal. Like we said in the episode 1, you just show up with a glove and a good attitude, you're going to be good to go. And even then with the glove, there's people out there that'll probably share with you. But a bat, you're thinking like, okay, that's expensive. You mentioned that $150 bat that you got for how much?
$75.
I bought a Rawlings on Amazon. I actually was a Louisville Slugger. I take that back. That first year when I finally bought a bat, I waited a couple of games. I only spent $40. Now that bat got broken
Mm.
pretty quick. And if you're listening to this and you're getting into this, you're going to break bats. You're going to break your own bat. You're probably going to break your buddy's bat. It's going to happen. Bats break. It's just the nature of the game. And one of the crappy things about this is you're probably going to break your bat going to the batting cages, because that's happened to a lot of us. We go to this place called D-Bat, and sometimes it's a good time, and then sometimes you end up shattering a bat. It's going to happen, but at $40, that's not that bad of a deal, and you kind of don't care. Like, I know you don't want to just burn money, but I mean, I'd rather break a $40 bat than having a $150 or $200 bat snap on me.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, if you do $40 for a whole season, you'll be all right. And usually, what happens when you start talking to other people, you're like, "Oh man, what do you got?" And yeah, maybe season 2, season 3, you want to be a little fancy. Like honestly, what I got fancy was literally when I was saying, "Hey, I'm buying these bats. They're valued at 120, and I'm getting them for $70, and that's the only reason I'm doing it." And like I said, I had bad experience of breaking bats, so last season I carried 2 bats just in case I break one. I won't be all bummed out. So you just got to look and search for deals. There's many sites out there. Uh, you don't have to spend a whole cash. Now, I was once say if you spend something for something good, then hopefully you're saying I'm gonna play Sandlot for the next 10 years. So your return on investment will just be longer on that point.
Yeah, or even if you're not sure how long you want to do this, or you're just dipping a toe in the proverbial pool, just go get a glove and just show up. And I mean, going back to the open play games that our league has here, which are the first Saturday of every month at Lake Cliff Park. Time kind of fluctuates depending on the time of the year, usually like 11 a.m., sometimes noon. Obviously, we go a little later once the temperature kind of dies down a little bit around here. But if you're not sure about it, just get a glove and just show up and test the waters a little bit. But with us and like developing the gears, we went along. Like everyone on the team by now, we're in year 3, kind of fully kitted out for the most part. But we didn't start off that way. Like, as you were saying, most of us, I think, as a majority, all bought just standard gray pants on Amazon, which again was $20, not that big of a stretch on the budget. And then, the idea was, hey, let's all have matching red socks, which you can get a pair of non-baseball socks, just regular plain socks for like $5. And then our jerseys that first year, we had 3/4 length sleeve concert shirts. I don't what was the league fees that first year, like $150?
I think like $75.
Yeah, it was pretty cheap, but that wasn't just uniform. So that money went to things like, you got to think about other costs here. Like, you do have to rent the fields, because it's obviously, it varies from place to place, but here in Dallas, you got to have the field rented, because if you just schedule a game and you don't have the field reserved and you show up, there might be something else going on out there. There might be a high school youth sports thing happening. There's other leagues. So you got to reserve the field, and especially for the night games, that costs a little bit more. And again, I'm sure that varies from city to city. I'm not 100% sure what that costs here in Dallas. You would know more on that than I would.
Yeah, here in Dallas, it just involves a little more organization of your team and showing something of your league. But like I said, other than that, in Dallas, there's certain fields that are only reserved for just regular open play people. So, like I said, every city is different. If you could just contact your local parks and recs, just get on the phone with them and just try to explain what you're trying to do. Just having a couple of friends, practice at night. The key word, just saying you're just practicing because this is Sandlot. Nothing's really official, and you're just having a good time. It's like going having a cookout. So, be sure you just use that lingo because then if you start saying like, "Oh, we're a baseball league and everything," they might kind of get technical on you and just like, no, hold your horses. We just someone would just have a couple of gloves, a baseball bat, and just want to throw around.
So on this same topic point, as far as equipment, like obviously now we've been in a couple of years now. We have a couple seasons. We have actual bases. Like we have gear that we bring, and it just depending on who you're playing, like each team kind of trades off bringing the gear. Like all the teams in our league, for the most part, they have game balls and whatnot. So again, if you're sitting here and you're thinking about this and you're like, man, this is going to cost some money. Here's another way to circumvent that. And that is sponsors. Now, before you start thinking like, oh, well, man, you guys have a bunch of sponsors. Let me tell you something. It's not that menacing of a task. It sounds like it's a lot, but it's not. Because honestly, if you think about it, if you look at Oak Cliff Sandlot's website, they have a lot of sponsors. They have some crazy sponsors that really contribute to the overall theme of what Oak Cliff Sandlot is doing. Now, a lot of them are friends or people that are on the 86ers or friends and family of people within the league themselves. That's definitely the case for us. So we have 8 sponsors total. Not all of them write us a check. Some of them are trade sponsors and they provide us things. But literally, we didn't have anything that first season. And how that all started was a couple of us just sat down and just started sending emails. And I had a wild list of like, well, what businesses do I like? Who would I like to have a banner up at games? And I started firing off emails left and right over coffee every morning. And it's like that old saying, you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. I sent out email after email after email. And finally, after I think it was like a week and a half, I got someone that replied and actually was like, Sandlot Baseball, I'm in. And that was Lockhart Smokehouse. And they didn't even bat an eye. And within an hour of receiving that email, they were Venmoing us money. And bam, Michael, we had a sponsor.
Oh, yes, we did. So that's the cool thing about it. Sandlot's getting some traction. So obviously that's why we're even doing this podcast, right? So we can make sure even potential vendors out there, hey, trust us with your money. It's super cool. I mean, we can't show you right now through our voices, but when you see all the flyers and all the sponsors there, it's kind of fun because obviously someone's going to ask like, oh my gosh, you got Lockhart? I'm like, yeah, I was there just about 3 months ago, literally at Lockhart Smokeout. My friend said, hey, I'm having my birthday party there, right? I took my Booze Hound jersey there and I'm just getting in line. I'm all giddy about it because I'm like trying to take that perfect selfie so I can sit into everybody and make my own post and kind of give my shout outs and thanks to Lockhart right here in Bishop Arts. And all of a sudden, right when I'm trying to be that influencer and taking a picture, one of the pit guys goes, hey, you play baseball? I'm like, yeah. You play in the league? Well, it's Sandlot. So, I did the whole spiel and he's like, wow, that's super cool. And I go, and guess what? What? Y'all sponsor us. He's like, oh, wow, I didn't know that. This is cool. Wow. Yeah, what's the name of your team? And I was like, East Dallas Booze Hounds, man. I really appreciate that. So, stuff like that, that's super cool when you kind of just go out there and get to interact with your sponsors because it kind of just makes you happy because, Sandlot, talking about it is super cool. But when you have some backing from a sponsor, that's the best.
Well, that's part of the allure of all this is like the Sandlot socials that we were talking about in episode number 1 with the league. We all have different watering holes that each team will hang out at or food places and whatnot. And a lot of them sponsor the different teams, but we do these appearances where all the teams will show up and we do one a month. And they're always on a Thursday where everyone shows up and they go to that establishment. You hang out, you have some beers, you have some snacks, you get to know other people that you may not know. You get to hang out with friends, and usually the teams have their merch table set up out there. And that's another thing is merch. You can make money off of that, and you don't have to spend a lot of money on that. When we started off with our koozies, or what we call our boozies, which has our logo on it, and it says boozy, win or lose, we still booze. I mean, we got those made. We got 100 of those for less than $100. So basically under 90 cents a piece with shipping. It doesn't take much. You just got to get out there. You just have to have someone on your team that's fairly decent with Photoshop, or in my case, I literally just pulled that one out of my backside. I was winging it and put it together, but it doesn't take much. And you turn around, you sell those for $4 or $5 a pop, and there you go. There's some extra cash, in your coffers right there to help your team get by and to pay the dues, if you will, and help you keep playing baseball, Mike.
Yep. And one last motivation, closed mouths get fed. don't get fed. So what I'm saying is tell your friends you start a new team. Oh, I'm trying to start this new team. I'm running in the rut. I don't get no sponsors. Can you help me out? Oh, I'm starting a new team. You know where I can maybe get some bats or something. Hey, I'm starting a new team. Do you know somebody from Parks and Recs? Because that's basically all that we did as well here.
Yeah, literally, you look at some of the other teams in our league, like the Honey Busters. I have to use them as an example because those guys, they have multiple uniforms. Like those guys, like they've got home jerseys, they've got away jerseys, they've got completely different uniforms, but they've also got multiple different T-shirts. Like they've got merch, they got visors, they've got hats, they've got all kinds of stuff. But it looks super cool. They got a couple of guys on their team that are really good with graphic design and whatnot and audiovisual stuff. And plus, one of their guys, John.com, he also works for the merchandise arm that we have for our league, which is Anchor Screen Printing. So those guys and the group that they have, guys and girls, then collectively that they have over there, it's pretty awesome because for what they've done, like when I see their merch, I'm like, man, we got to step up our game.
That's correct. Yeah, like I said, just talking with them, and this is the first year that we are doing that with them. So that's just like the simple stuff that people reach out and be like, "Hey, have you not tried reaching out to them? They do ours. They should do yours too." So super simple. Like I said, just make sure you just get the word out.
So the moral of the story is, do you have to wreck your bank book to get into this? No, you don't. You can get out of this for spending a little bit of money. And if you're looking for some sponsors, seriously, sit down, crack a beer, have a cup of coffee, write down a wish list of people in your area that you think would benefit from this and who would be fun. And you never know. Send those emails, pick up the phone and give somebody a call because you never know who's going to answer back and say, Sandlot, heck yeah, I'm in. We're going to take another quick break. When we come back, Mike's going to talk us through another segment of talking about some out-of-town teams that he has had the benefit of being able to play over the last couple seasons. First Thursday's podcast is brought to you by the Dallas Coffee News, your weekly one-sheet reader for local news, trivia, games, and to connect you to local businesses. Stop by a local retailer to pick up your fresh brewed copy every Friday or find them on Facebook at Dallas Coffee News. By Lockhart Smokehouse. Stop by their location in Bishop Arts District for an ice-cold beer and some authentic, slow-smoked Central Texas barbecue. You can also visit them at www.lockhartsmokehouse.com. And by 23rd Legion. Do you have a need for decals, stencils, or custom designs? 23rd Legion has you covered. Check them out on Instagram at 23rd Legion or their Etsy shop, 23rdlegion.etsy.com. Okay, segment 3. We reserved this one for my friend Mike over here. This one we always focus. Oh, there you go. Sound effects. I keep jumping the gun on that one. I can't start a segment until you get the and there you go. And it's the master cylinder can, by the way, in the brown bag. You are a true professional, my friend. In this segment, Mike likes to always showcase. You like to pick an out-of-town team, or in this case, a couple of teams, and you'd like to talk about this case. This is an entire trip that you went. I believe this happened last season, the beginning of the season. I missed out on this one as well, but you guys had a heck of a time out in West Texas.
That's correct. So out of town, I always try to remember the stories that we go, and every now I kind of hope to go in through this podcast, and yeah, I might talk about the same out of town experience, but it's going to be a different segment, right? Meaning it might be just about the teams, it might be about the experience, or it might be about the place we visit. This one's going to be a tangle of two. So this podcast out of town segment takes us west in Texas, a 915 area code. Some call it the Sun City, but I bet you tacos, most would know it as El Chuco. March of 2024, Oak Cliff Sandlot just gave us the chance to play in El Paso. And man, oh man, I felt happy because that meant we're getting on the plane. So it was an amazing feeling for myself because I just got the chance to get that kind of feel that big leaguer gets. Hey, we're going west. We're going to play a team. Get on the airplane, get flown out to play baseball. It was super cool. I was walking to the airport with my catcher gear and be like, yeah, I'm a big deal. I'm a Sandlot big leaguer. So Oak Cliff Sandlot gave the opportunity. So we had a collective team of 12. So we were from River City, White Rock, and ourselves East Dallas. So we decided to call ourselves the Bugs, Booze, Bees.
Whose idea was that?
It was like a last minute Slack conversation. It's like, let's get shirts. What we're gonna put?
Hey, you guys had shirts made with that?
Yes, it's like it's a funny looking logo, but when you see just a little bit, you see a bug, you see a booze, or basically you see a booze hound, right? And you see the bees. So yeah, it was kind of cool because even through that, now we became a collective group. We were just like really rocking out with the t-shirt. So, it wasn't a jersey, but remember we talked about being cost effective. It was literally like $17 to get this shirt. So, and we got it done literally in I think 3 days. So I just thought it was super cool that we were able to get it. But also, like I said, it was a combination of all three mascots, right? So think about it. I felt like the Rangers, how when they came up with the Peagle. So, I mean, think about it. The Peagle, all it does is a representation of combined mascots, and it was basically, the two DFW teams, the minor league teams. So the Peagle was the Fort Worth Panthers and the Dallas Eagles. So we were the Bugs, Boos, Bees, and basically we served as a unification of our three Oak Cliff Sandlot teams playing together. So it was kind of cool just knowing that that's like when that new kind of uniform came up, we're literally doing the same thing. So going out to El Chuco, we played the El Paso Chupacabras in a barnstorm with Los Yonki Gallos de Marfa. And man, I got so much respect for the hospitality and the coolness of these two teams. That just gave me an awe. They were so cool in the hospitality. I mean, when we got there, we set up shop. It was fun, but let me tell you even the story how we got there. We had an Airbnb, actually a nice Airbnb that fit all of us. All 12 of us felt nice, so that was kind of
You
cool.
guys were all holed up in one house?
Yeah,
That's impressive.
it was a 2 bedroom and everybody just fit well. It was great. Shout outs to Aldi because he had that instant coffee in the morning, so we were all good. And we got actually a big like SUV. I forgot. You know what it was? It was that Jeep Grand Wagoner when it just came out, right? So now to paint the picture, we're in a big old SUV. Now, I don't know if anybody here is a movie buff, but has anybody even heard of the movie called Sicario?
I was gonna say, if you guys are all in a big SUV and you're tooling around El Paso, that's giving vibes of when they go blowing into Juarez.
Oh, Jimmy, I have even footage of myself. Maybe if you follow me on Instagram, might show a story, but literally I was just geeking out because I'm like, hold up, we're in this SUV. And then we get on the highway and I'm looking to my left and all of a sudden I hear that background music. Doo.
That song is called "The Beast," by the way. When that scene's happening, we were actually gonna play that, to be fair, but we knew we were gonna get dinged for the licensing rights on that. But that's a pretty good impersonation.
Doo. And I was like, dude, this happening. I didn't tell nobody in the Wagner what was happening because I didn't want to freak them out. And I'm just like, there goes Juarez to my left. And I'm like thinking, we're playing in El Paso, so we're good. So, anyways, and it was super cool because when we got there, all of a sudden I see the baseball field. And that's one thing that Sandlot I loved. From first playing at Norbuck and we got that nice forest, but then going to Lake Cliff and we see the town view of Dallas, Texas. Now I'm in a new town and I get to see a new plate. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, wow, holy smokes, that's a mountain. Someone's thirsty over there. That's why it's First Thursdays, brought to you by Jimmy C and Mike G. But yes, I saw that mountain, right? And I'm like, dude, this is El Paso. Look how sweet that mountain is. Wow, it's like there, And then all of a sudden I get like to the field and I'm like, is that Juarez? It is Juarez. Is that the Rio Grande? No, that's it, Rio Bravo. And I'm like, dude, this is so cool. And then I get there and I'm just like, oh my gosh, why there's a lot of people? Obviously, it's a Barnstorm, I forgot. And they're playing, they're grilling. I mean, they had literally 2 grills going out there just feeding us food. So that was one cool thing. Like we literally ate and we played 2 games because it was 3 of us. Right after we finished our second game, just because they had played the first game and we were the second one, they're like, hey, all right, guys, time out. Let's go and eat. And we just got there and we ate for 45 minutes just to chill. And everybody, all the chupacabras were cool. I remember even when I got there, the chupacabras just mentioned like, man, thanks for coming out. We're so happy for y'all to be up here. And he was like, man, I called some of my college buddies. I played college ball to say, hey, this weekend, you need to come out and have some good fun with us. And I was like, what? The fact that they got their college buddies just to come out here, just to play us, we're just a bunch of the kids from Oak Cliff Sandlot, right? So I'm just like, man, you really just call some people to fly in and drive in? They're like, yeah, they're our buddies and they love to play baseball. And key, that's when I realized that's what Sandlot is. Bringing your friends, organizing your friends just for the love of the game. So then everything was just hitting and that was cool. But also, I would just say sidetrack. Shout out to John.com. So I got to catch the John, and man, just like I said in the last segment, when I looked up to the 86ers and the Honey Busters, there was just like the cool legends who just started it. So when I got told the assignment, hey, Mike, 9-7, you catch it for John.com, I was like, oh man, that guy can pitch. That guy's from Chicago. He knows what he's due. Like, man, he looks so cool in all the flyers. So lucky me, I got to sit right next to him. So then when I'm sitting next to him, it's kind of like, hey, John, so what type of pitch do you like to do? He was just like, man, you know what, man? I don't care, man. You don't got to worry about it. And then, dude, we talked 45 minutes of just straight baseball on a plane. I'm pretty sure the people next to us, because I'm pretty sure they're hearing my voice, they're just like, shut up, quit talking about baseball, because that's all we talk. We were talking about sliders. We were talking about a 0-2 count. We were talking about pitches that we don't like. So now, fast forward, I'm catching from, and it was amazing. One cool little moment about John.com. Now, Nolan Ryan will love this guy because John.com will pitch 9-10 innings for you. He's pitching his butt off. We're probably like in the 5th, 6th inning, and there's a guy in the stands keeping stats. And right before we start, he goes, hey, pitch, you know you're at 118 pitches? And I'm like, what? Why would you tell my pitcher that he's a buck 120? And John.com just looking at me, just like, thanks. In that same inning, oh my gosh, I'm pretty sure it's on film. He had one of the most amazing catches. Basically, it was just a pop fly, a low hanger, and I just hear John.com say, I got it. And he dove to get this ball. Mind you, we're just regular dudes. And he dove to get this ball and got us out of this inning. So just moments like that, that's something that we like. We talk about, we have our feelers for that moment, but just a moment like that just sticks with me. So yes, talking about Chupacabras was great. Also, we got to play the legendary Yonki Gallos en Marfa. Now, key word, Marfa. Everybody in Texas knows Marfa, right? We all go over there, take pictures of that Prada building. It's kind of been one of the top 10 destinations for Dallas for Texas in the last 10 years. So in my mind, I'm like, wait, Chupacabras. So you got these cool dudes from Marfa to come over here to El Paso? I mean, everybody goes to Marfa. Pull up the articles, Google them. You got the Texas Playboys going over there. You got anybody and everybody in Sandlot wanting to play Los Gallos Yancos en Marfa. And I'm like, and we get to play him here in El Paso? Oh, yes. It was so cool. They were so amazing, and they represented what Sandlot was. Just a group of people wanting to play. I remember when I was catching this one lady, and she was just like, I was like, hey, what you drinking? What you thinking? And she was just like, oh, I'm just drinking just like water and everything. Like, oh, okay. Like, so like, you having a good time? She was like, yeah, well, my boyfriend asked like if I can help out. And I'm like, huh? Like help out to drive or help out to play? Kind of both. And I was like, oh, this is amazing. Just people getting involved just to play a game. Because basically they're probably like, hey, let's go take a trip to El Paso and have some fun. So yeah, the Gallos Marfa, those Yonki Gallos in Marfa, they were so cool. And also one last little conversation I had when I was catching for this one dude. And then again, I just noticed his cleats. And I was like, hold up. Those are UT baseball locker room issued burnt orange cleats. And I told him, right where he was, catching, I was like, hey man, where'd you get those cleats? Because I'm thinking like, he might say like, I don't know, it was a gift. He was like, I bought them at a store. And I was like, hey man, you can only buy those like at a special UT store. He's like, oh yeah, I work for UT. And at the time, I was also employed by the University of Texas, Austin. I was like, me too, bro. So I got his name. I was like, man, I'm going to team you, bro. Like, this is so great. What do you do? And I was like, oh, crap, we're playing baseball. So just that kind of cool thing that you just never know who you're going to meet doing these Sandlot trips. And I'm really appreciative of that. One thing I want to say, if you ever go to El Paso, the nightlife, the bar life there is super cool. We went out. All of us got to hang out with Los Yankees, Los Yonki Gallos. We're also there with the Chupacabras. And next segment, we're going to talk a little bit because I can't wait for the next segment to even talk about it. So, yep, that's my out of town. And before Jimmy goes into it, I'm going to give you a little insider break for this next PA. Y'all really can't see it, but about 3 hours ago, I got a haircut from one of these proud sponsors.
Foreshadowing for our new sponsor for First Thursdays. I have one more question on your out of town story, El Paso. Did you get any merch? Did they have any merch? What was the merch like?
Chupacabras had merch. They had hats and everything to go. Usually los Yonki Gallos de Marfa, they do have merch, and you can usually get them when you go up there. But yes, they had a lot of cool merch.
And that's kind of the thing that why we go into this. Like you and I had talked about this before we ever did the first episode, trying to encourage people when we talk about these out of town teams, trying to talk about experiences and showcase not just our league and what happens around Dallas Fort Worth, but Sandlot teams all over North America. But the other thing too is like all these different teams, as we kind of talked about in that last segment, like make some merch that you can sell to help kind of pay your bills and whatnot. Like that's kind of the thing. Let's develop this brotherhood. You know, you see a team, you see them follow them on Instagram, like yeah, it's sisterhood. Like you see their logo and you like it, like reach out, buy a shirt, buy a hat, buy a koozie. That's kind of one of the reasons behind this segment, is to talk about other teams outside of our realm, but to also encourage other people to support other teams and leagues all across the country and just develop this whole thing that we call Sandlot. We're going to pay a few more bills when we come back. One more segment to go here in episode 2. We're going to talk about things on the horizon here for the month of September in the Oak Cliff Sandlot League. First Thursday's podcast has been brought to you by Virtus Barber & Company, proud sponsor of Oak Cliff Sandlot and this podcast. They're a barbershop located right here at East Dallas where all are welcome. Fades, beard trims, shaves, and more, you can find them at virtusbarber.com. By Vector Brewing, a family-owned brewery and tap room located in the heart of Lake Highlands. Their beer is brewed in-house just behind the bar in their custom 7-barrel brewhouse. Check out their selection at vectorbrewing.com. And by Fernet, crafted from a formula known to just one living soul. Fernet's flavor profile has been described as bitter, herbaceous, menthol, or sweet, but true aficionados know it has a unique quality that's certainly not for everyone. Stop by your local bar and ask for Fernet by name. All right, here we go. The 9th inning, the final segment. And in this one, we kind of go anywhere and everywhere. We kind of talk about upcoming new Oak Cliff Sandlot business. But the beauty of this last segment is we also get to give some shout outs. And I'll let you start off this platform, Mike.
Yeah, so shout outs, you know what? Hey, we have active ears over here. You know, we hounds and we listen. So usually we have everything planned out for our shout outs, but this first shout out right here, hey, shout out to Sandlot Fridays. I hear the good work what you're doing out. Hey, we know the sports bets. We know what's going. And also, you know what was so crazy about it? I already had everything written for something. And it's going to be in the next podcast. So you're going to have to tune in for the next one after this, because Sandlot Fridays is going to play in. But going back to the shout outs, shout out to Trey Mossmeyer's mom and dad. I get so thrilled when I see Trey's dad, and then this time I got to see his mom, and it's cool. And I'm going to say it right now. If anybody has not been to our games, we're usually not in the kennel. The hounds do not stay in the kennel. Mike, what's the kennel? That dugout. We like to be free. We like to wag our tails. We like to sniff and see who's out there. And I'm one of that person that does it a lot. So I'm always going in the stands and I'm asking questions. Hey, so I ask people, usually parents, which player are you rooting for? And I get all these parents. So yes, I got to meet Trey's son as well. And when I got to also meet him, he was playing with our very own Booze Hounds player, Andrea's son, Bear. So it's so cool because Bear is an official juice hound. And then, you know, when I start to talk to Trey's son, I basically started the contract negotiation with Trey's son. Trust me, I get deals done. I ain't Jerry Jones. I ain't afraid of my UT classmate, David Mulugeta. I will get a trade done, and I will never trade a juice hound. But also, last shout out, speedy recovery for our booze hound, Alec. Yeah, injuries sucks, and he makes our infield so fun to play. But you know why I also miss Alec? Because I miss Alec's grandma. Alec's grandma will go to the game, and man, she will put some fire on our butt. She will tell us we're not doing good, and she will tell us we're good, and she will cheer for every run that comes in. Because you know one thing? The Booze Hounds never get shut out. So that was my family shout out right there. And speaking of family, what to expect from this Barnstorm? Family. And I ain't Dominic Toretto. I'm Diamond Mike, and I shine bright like a diamond. And Oak Cliff Sandlot got me because we were going to be a collective group of members hosting all these barnstorms like a family. So, Jimmy, take it away and let us know how we're going to kind of organize this.
Well, we've kind of teased this a little bit with the Barnstorm idea. We talked about this in episode 1, and going back to the last segment when you were talking about that trip to El Paso. What exactly is a barnstorm? Well, different communities across the country will host these things, across North America, if you will. They'll host these, and it's a league or a group of leagues in one particular city, and teams from other cities will come in, and it's usually a 3-day weekend party, which you talked about with that El Paso run. Our group from Oak Cliff Sandlot, they literally, at the time that we're recording this, they just returned from New York City. We talked about this in episode 1. They went up there last year, but they kind of went around a little bit, went to Connecticut, a couple other places. This time around, they were in Jersey. They played one in Brooklyn. I think they played, no, they weren't in Central Park this time around, but they were in Brooklyn. They went to New Jersey, but it's a good time. And like you were saying, like everybody gets together in an Airbnb, and everybody just kind of shuttles together, and you get to meet some out-of-town folks that share this love for Sandlot, and you get to see some new places, and you get to check out some new food joints, you get to check out some new bars and whatnot. And from what I saw on the Discord chat, everybody had an absolute blast up there for the New York Barnstorm 2.0. So we are officially hosting one coming up here, and is the end of September, and it's going to be, we're lucky as Booze Hounds because it's going to be in our backyard, Mike. It's going to be at our very own Norbuck Park on fields 5 and 6.
Man, Jimmy, I'm going to tell you right now, hey, this is some insider information. We are so lucky.
You got the scoop?
I got the scoop because this barnstorm is so big. We got Jerry Jones asking us, how are you going to do this? Because Jerry Jones got that World Cup. And now this is the World Cup of Oak Cliff Sandlot right now. We are having some very special teams coming in, and we are doing our best, and we have the best package. About 2-3 weeks ago, all the big heads got together at Good Friends, and man, we debated like we were on the debate team on freshman year trying to get somewhere, because the debate was, what can we do to have the Sandlot experience? What can we do to make sure that the people who are coming in are going to have a Sandlot memory? Because it means a lot to us, because honestly, when we talk about the Honey Busters and the Oak Cliff 86ers, and just how Oak Cliff Sandlot has given us the opportunity to do these barnstorms. And when they talk about these barnstorms, like, oh man, it's so fun. So these are the cool talks that we had between Patty and Gray and everybody else at that little round table at Good Friends, that what can we do to maximize the Sandlot experience? So we got a couple of cool things that we're doing that, obviously, Jimmy, did you know that all of us in Oak Cliff Sandlot, we're going to get in a little pool of lottery so we can make sure we just play together as a team?
I heard some rumors about that. I was told to keep that one under wraps, but that officially just got put out to all the players earlier this week in the different teams. They're basically they're asking every one of the different teams in our league, hey, declare your eligibility, or do you want to play that weekend? Do you want to play both days? What positions would you like to play? And basically all those players from all those different teams, your names are going into a hat, and they're going to draw them out, and you're not just going to play different teams from Oak Cliff Sandlot. You are going to play some OCS All-Stars, if you will, and there will be 3 different teams. And what's cool about this is we don't even know. Well, if we decide that we're in for this and we're going to play, you don't even know until that Thursday night what team you're going to be on and who your teammates are. So they're going to have one of those Oak Cliff Sandlot socials we were talking about. That Barnstorm weekend is going to start off that Thursday. I believe it's the 25th. I'll double check that here in a second. But we're going to be at Oak Cliff Brewing, and basically that's the night where they're going to announce what team that you're on as far as the Oak Cliff All-Stars are concerned, or OCS Team 1, 2, and 3. And it's pretty cool because Patty and the Powers That Be, they also made hats for this. So when you go and you play in these games, you're going to wear your team jersey, but they're making special hats for that weekend. So no one on our crew, yeah, we're hosting, but no one on our end, not a soul, is going to know until the night of, except for the ones that are drawing the names out of the hat.
Hey, Jimmy, do you got that list of those teams participating?
It is the Palestine Polecats that's coming into town for that one. There was a group from Tulsa that was coming. It was Tulsa All Stars because it was a couple different teams. But I just saw on the Slack chat that had been crossed off, so they might have had a scheduling conflict. So they're now not coming. So I don't know where we sit right now by the time that we've recorded this as to
Correct.
who's going to come in and replace that. But your friends from El Paso that
Oh,
you talked about in segment 3,
oh
they're coming.
man, good old Paso Chupacabras. When I saw that, woo, I lit up. I was like, man, either I want to play against them or I'm going to watch them play. We also got the Dallas All Hats. Remember how we mentioned them earlier in the segment?
Yeah, the All Hats, they're officially not in the league as of right now, but they just started playing baseball this season,
Yep.
and they're in. So they're going to be playing as a whole against one of these OCS teams. But then we also have a group from Temple, and they have a pretty cool name.
Yep. Temple Freight Hoppers.
So I'm guessing they've got a whole train theme to their whole deal. So I'm hoping they have some merch because be interested in buying a shirt or a hat for the Freight Hoppers.
And last but not least, but we love cats over here.
Who's the last? Oh, is it the Lake Cliff Strays?
The Palestine.
Oh, I got them at
Polecats.
the top. All right.
Okay,
Okay.
okay.
You threw me off. I was like, wait a minute. Did I forget one?
So yeah, it's gonna be super cool. When I saw this lineup of people coming in, I'm just thinking like, this is amazing. We got some really good, important Sandlot teams who just want to participate. And like I said, you can check their Instagram and check their page. They just do all the wonders of what Sandlot is. And we get to get all of them under one house here at Oak Cliff Sandlot. So it's a lot of pressure, but well, I don't know what they say about pressure, but pressure makes diamonds, right?
It sure does.
And last time I checked, they called me Diamond Mike. So I guess I'm ready for this. Knee slapper on that, and I ain't no dad, I'll tell you that.
I'll take a drink to that.
Sip, 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 drink, drink, drink.
You're a man of many nicknames in this episode. I love it.
Yeah, we're getting there, but just remember, if you see me, bear me. But this Barnstorm, like I said, Jamie, is going to be super, super amazing for us, just as Oak Cliff Sandlot. We've gotten treated so much hospitality and going to trips, from going to Austin, everything. Just asking people, where'd you play? Oh, we played in Tulsa. How was it? It was amazing. Where'd you go? Minnesota. How was it? It was amazing. Everything's been good. And now we have the luxury and the pleasure and the honor to actually host the hospitality and just show everybody how much we like Sandlot. So that's why we're really excited for this Barnstorm. We've been talking about it since the beginning of the season. Actually, I remember when we started this season, that was something on the calendar. So that's just something that we really look forward to. So obviously, if you're listening now and you're one of those teams, or hey, maybe you play Sandlot and for some reason you want to book a trip that weekend. What weekend is it, Jimmy?
It is the weekend of September 25th, 26th, 27th, and 28th. Now, the Thursday is the 25th. That's the Sandlot Social that's going on at Oak Cliff Brewing, and that is where they're going to get out there and they're going to announce the OCS teams. And again, you're not playing one of the individual teams in our league. It is an all-star matchup, so none of us are going to know until that night when Patty or whoever gets up there and makes the announcement. It could be Aldi. We don't know. That's a developing situation. However, they will get up there that night. They will announce the teams and they will hand out the hats. So that'll be a big deal because everyone can hang out, have a few beers, get some food, get to know everybody.
Yep.
And that's why we call them Sandlot Socials, because we're all hanging out and making new friends and having a good time.
I think that's going to be a very cool experience for us in Oak Cliff Sandlot. It's going to kind of give it, and it's something we kind of just talked about, like how can we just get all of us kind of playing together, pick and choose, and this can kind of be like a little draft lottery, It's kind of like, hey, oh my gosh, you get to play. So it's going to be super cool to know that now going forward into that weekend, it's going to be people that we probably never thought we'll play against, but we've seen so much in and out from open play, from playing to each other. Because think about it, even though when we're playing the Honey Buster, 86 or the Mud Bugs, that don't mean we're in opposite dugouts. We're out there talking with them, shooting it out. We see everybody's accomplishments. So now we can go and kind of connect and be like, hey, man, I remember when you pitched that one inning when you just had 3 strikeouts. Like, oh, man, I can't wait to catch that. Or, man, I remember when you hit that home run in Lake Cliff and you just put one of those balls where all the cars are at, right? So we have a great opportunity for us, Oak Cliff Sandlot. So if any of y'all are listening and you're going to be part of that Barnstorm, just let it be known you're going to get a good collective group that you're going to play against, and you're going to get to know a lot about us.
Well, it starts off that Thursday, and then on Friday night, the 26th at Norbuck Park, Patty told me they're going to have an open play game, so everybody's just going to come out. I would imagine they'll get going on both fields. They'll get the lights turned on, and you have to have 2 fields going because the amount of people that we have that turn out just for our open play game, so I would imagine that one's definitely going to go on. on both fields. Then on Saturday and on Sunday. So they're going to have 4 different games going on both days. This is the 27th and the 28th. So fields 5 and 6. So they'll start one and then they'll stagger them. So then on the next field, they'll start one probably an hour later and then back and forth. And then the lights will come on. And the deal is they're going to have bands. We're going to have food vendors. And the way that it's been pitched to all of us in the league is like they encourage you, tell your friends, tell your family. They want everybody out there, whether you're playing or not. Hang out, make this a party in the park. And after Saturday night's games, when it's all said and done, we're all going to head to our watering hole, the home of the East Dallas Booze Hounds, which is good friend Burger House and Beer Garden. We're all going to be there. Everyone's invited, whether you played or not. Come on down, and we'll be hosts for that night, and then we'll do it all over again on Sunday. Now, part of that, because if you don't know about the Booze Hounds and you didn't listen to episode number 1, we do a whole thing at our games where we do a live show. We bring the PA out, we have announcers, we have walk-up music, we have sound bites, we do a whole bit thing. So the plan is, we don't know what yet. One of those games, maybe 2 of those games, either on Saturday or Sunday, we're going to do the full live show. We're going to have that whole thing happen to show the out-of-town teams what we're all about here at Oak Cliff Sandlot. Another part of that is that we're going to try, and I say try in parentheses here, we're working on this. It's a slowly developing situation. There's a guy named Gray Wilcox who's on the River City Honeybusters, and he has all the tech savvy for the AV side of this. So we saw on Instagram, this was 2 weeks ago, we saw a team in Baltimore that was doing a live YouTube broadcast of one of their games, and they had kind of a simple setup with somebody with a switcher and a couple of cameras, but they did a live video feed with 2 people sitting in a tent calling that game. So Gray and I have had this idea about doing a radio show where it was just going to be him and myself just kind of doing the traditional, play-by-play analyst kind of role, just so the out-of-town teams could listen to their friends play. But we're trying now, as of this he came out last Saturday night to our last game, and he's like, it wouldn't be that far of a stretch to work out somebody with a switcher to be the AV control person and get a video feed. So we're trying to figure that out. So at the very least, the goal is we're going to do a radio broadcast on YouTube or some other platform, might be Facebook Live, whatever. We're figuring that out, but we're trying to set it up to where it'll be a radio feed to where the out-of-town teams, or even people that just can't make it to Norbuck that live here in DFW, can at least listen in for one of the games. We'll do a complete game where him and I will sit there and we'll call this thing like a couple of people on Fox or ESPN or whatever it may be. But we're trying to do that radio show. We're hoping to get video, but just a little teaser, like big things are in the works here for the Barnstorm.
Man, Jimmy, that one segment we did in segment 2, we were talking about deals. Everybody's going to get a deal here. I'm talking about you come over here, you get 10 teams. That's 10 teams in 3 days. Now, that's a deal. You get to watch at least 10 teams in 3 days. I'm going to name off these teams. Now, basically, yeah, we're going to watch the Dallas All Hats. We're going to watch the El Paso Chupacabras. We're going to watch them Palestine Polecaps and then Temple Freight Hoppers. But then that Oak Cliff Sandlot team is going to be a combination with them White Rock Mudbugs, the Coyotes from South Irving, them Honey Busters from River City, and them Aviators, and then those Oak Cliff 86er, and yours truly, the East Dallas Booze Hounds. Man, imagine just coming out to watch it. So this is the perfect time. If you're on the fence of Sandlot and saying, what do I got to do? This is the perfect time. Because you got 10 different teams to say, how did you start? Man, your jersey, where'd you buy your jersey? Oh, that's a great glove. But then also, if you just want to have a good time and watch want to watch some fun baseball, you can just come in and just hang out. I mean, it's going to be a nice weekend. I figured we're going to have a lot of accommodation to come out here. Like I said, we're going to have a food truck vendor. We're going to have entertainment. One thing I do say about a lot of our games, especially with us East Dallas Booze Hounds, we do a good job to invite our friends with kids, with dogs. I mean, we are the Booze Hounds. So dogs are always welcome. And if you want to take a picture with one of the Booze Hounds in the dugout, that is absolutely 110% free. That can be a nice Christmas card to send to somebody. So send your kids, send your parents. You already heard me, the shout outs. It can be grandparents, it can be moms and dads. If you want to come hang out. One thing about Sandlot, the pastime, we're doing baseball as the fun time. So that's one little cool shout out I wanted to make sure that everybody knows. Everybody is welcome. Come out, get some more information, and watch us do this Barnstorm.
Yeah, that was another thing I forgot. Patty's trying to get beer sponsors for this and trying to get. He says there's going to be bands, so it's going to be live music, it's going to be baseball, and it's going to be multiple food truck vendors and possibly a beer sponsor. Anyway, it's a good time. If you live here in the Metroplex, whether you're on one of these teams or not, I highly recommend come on down. Mike, as you just said, bring your families. Like, yeah, we got a name like the Booze Hounds, and yes, we're drinking, but it is family friendly and it's fun because people bring their kids and the kids are running around and they're picking up foul balls and they're finding frogs in the park and all the kids are running around. We try to, when time allows, we try to let the kids run the bases at 7th inning stretch time. We do a lot of fun bits. It's going to be a good time. All these talented teams are coming in from out of town. So all the stories that I've heard from you and other guys on our team and just talking to Patty and the other people in our league, how they've been able to participate in these Barnstorms. My schedule hasn't allowed it. So I'm excited to be a part of this. And I really hope, and I'm, Gray and I are working on this. We're going to get that broadcast thing figured out, but it's going to be a good time. So it's coming up. It's the end of the month. It is September 25th out there at Oak Cliff Brewing. And then the 26th at Norbuck Park is the open play night. And then the games are September 27th and 28th, Norbuck Park on fields 5 and 6.
Man, so I feel like I hear a little Ludacris song coming out. Roll out, and then roll out, roll out.
Well, we got to thank a few more people on the way out. So we thanked him at the top of the show, but I want to thank him again because he is the linchpin behind episode number 1. And this never would have happened if it wasn't for him, showing us the ropes on how to get this done and opening up his studio to let us record that first one. So again, Jonathan Jeter, thank you so much because you are literally the drawbridge that got us across the moat so we could storm the castle and start making this happen. Sergio Longoria, yes. We got to thank him because he gave us the music that we used at the opening. At the end, because that whole licensing thing, because that all kind of sucks. But thank you, Sergio. We couldn't have done this without you.
And also, I want to thank anyone who has ever attended our games. Shout out to Uncle Joe. Shout out to Carly's mom. Don't worry, I remember all of y'all. So when I get to meet y'all will get some cool shout outs. So thank you very much. So what's the last slogan?
We got one more thing to take care of. It's our tagline to send us home.
Win or lose, we still booze.